Okay, so, back in Katawa Shoujo, and I believe it's the start of a new day. Yep, okay. Mautau lurches into class in a tired stagger. I suppose students aren't the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Oh yeah, today's Saturday, 'cause in Japan they go to school on Saturday. But I think only for a half day. Anyways. Without saying a word, he scrawls some page and question numbers on the board and slumps down at his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him. How is it atypical? It's like his fourth day at school? How would he know if that's atypical? Oh well. But it appears that no one in the class is going to call him out on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not wanting to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial. Not a peep is heard among the ruffling papers. That can partly be attributed to the two empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Shizune, I think it's Shizune. I think I've been pronouncing it the whole time incorrectly, so Shizune aren't present. Probably doing council work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she is making up for Shizune's lack of voice. Nakai, can I speak to you for a moment? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha that I don't even notice Mautau approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. It's kind of daunting. Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him up into the hallway. Mautau stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he is trying to say. Not knowing what is going on, I wait silently. So, tell me, how are things? Things? I expected Mautau to be a little vague, but this is pushing the limits. You know, things. You've had a week to settle in now, so how are things? Fine, I guess. I see, and how's your condition? The pause before condition seemed a little unnecessary. Well, it's going fine, I guess. I've only almost died twice. Both caused by Emmy. Haven't had any problems so far. Oh, well, okay. A brief shimmer of relief passes across Mautau's face. Good. That's good. The school nurse was a little concerned that you might have been pushing yourself a bit too hard. He asked me to keep an eye on you when he couldn't. That makes sense. I'd ask that you don't blow us off so freely. As much as we try to give you the level of education that you would get at a normal school, you have to realize that you have limits. Our goal is to make sure that you know where those limits are, and how to maximize your potential within them. Do you follow me? I guess. I mean, I don't plan on doing anything stupid. Well, that's a start, I guess. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Mautau taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs this information. Is that so? I suppose there are still students out there that realize the importance of learning. Yeah, I wouldn't be learning most likely if I was in the hospital for 3 months. I'd probably be playing video games. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah. You've got to keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want to let that happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layperson, but any one of them could be the key to the next big thing. I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Mautau's serious talk is over, and he's gone back to his standard slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think in hindsight that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I think that's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? My relief at that suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Mautau pauses for a moment. I don't think any of the students have ever said that to me before. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the classroom. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they are working on the questions on the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Mautau doesn't even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got him to there. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to the near silence that Mautau and I left it in before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. The clock on the wall slowly ticks the remaining class time away until finally the bells cry out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers for those problems by Monday. The class sighs as one, instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issues at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind and try to quickly finish the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend, with the festival and all tomorrow. Oh, hey Hanako. Apart from me, Hanako is the only one left, obviously waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least nominally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that, or anything else either, so an oppressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn the pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil lead splinters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sound of my irritated sigh and subsequent fumbling around for a sharpener feel like they're breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Whoa, that was fast. Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lily. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes, she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her, though, her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. But why would Lily leave her to her own devices? It seems to be quite out of the ordinary, going by Hanako's reaction. Oh, that's right, I think Lily mentioned something about going into town today before Rin bumped into us. The thought of that walk makes me look outside. The bright sun and occasional people wandering around and enjoying the afternoon makes me yearn to get out of the school, or at least to do something other than sit here. Giving into one of my worst vices, procrastination, I decide that history is a subject best studied on a Sunday, or a Monday, or on any other day than this one. I give a grunt as I lever myself out of my seat, briefly debating with myself whether or not to hang out with Kenji. Why would that even be an option? No, don't do that. Do not. He doesn't strike me as the enjoying the nice weather outside with others kind of person, really. I guess I'll catch up with him later. Changing tacks, I briefly entertained the idea of talking with Hanako, But by the time I look at her seat, it's vacant. She must have left for the library. There's got to be something I can do to kill the time. Okay, choice between Lily or Hanako. Save. Create new save state. Current scene SIP part 2. What? Okay, I am going with Hanako. Wait, yes, Hanako. The library seems as good a place as any to go. Hanako looked as if she was taken pretty off guard by Lily leaving, so she might want someone to talk to. Slinging my bag over my shoulder, I make my way out of the classroom. I walk down the hallway to the library, past a multitude of closed doors. Through each one, the sound of furious rehearsal can be heard. Rock music blares out of one door, almost as loud as a concert. I guess that's one of the advantages of a private school. There are actually enough rooms to go around at a time like this. And when I think about it, the grounds and buildings of the school are kept in pretty good condition. That can't be too cheap. I've heard that this place has some pretty serious benefactors. The walls of the library are only partially insulate the noise of the festival preparations, but they're the only sound to be heard. English. Not a soul stirs here, with everyone apparently enjoying the weather outside or working on festival events. Yuko isn't here either. Maybe she doesn't work on Saturdays. I quietly walk through the library, now fairly familiar with its layout. I head to the back, where Hanako's private little corner is. I run my hand along the spines of the books on the way, though, feeling the individual texture of each as I glance across the titles. I used to do this all the time at the library at the hospital. Some things never change, I guess. Like the smell of a library. No matter how much care you take, the paper in the books is always going to degrade with time. Probably, no matter which library you go into, anywhere in the world, it must have that same musty smell. Unless they have air conditioning or some other device that gets rid of that. Or, what's it called, a dehumidifier to stop that papers from molding. I find something that looks light enough to read without any major thought involved, then look for Hanako in the reading area. Hello. Once again, she is sitting on a beanbag with her back to a bookshelf. Reading the same book she had in the classroom, she's slowly making her way through the pages. I can't tell if she's looking at me or not. I don't think she is, but maybe. I just realized that's a really bad place for a beanbag. What about the books right behind her? Who's going to be able to read those? No one. Unlike the last time I saw her here, I quietly take a seat in a beanbag. The noise is enough to catch her attention, but not startle her. Oh, now she's looking at me. Hello. This delicate routine that must be followed each and every time I try to talk to her almost feels like a hunting game. Is that the same book as before? Yes, I'm almost finished. Oh, what was the book? Life of Pi. Life of Pi. Cool. I wonder if I should... Do you mind if I borrow it when you're finished? My mouth is faster than my mind, it seems. Sure, you may not like it, but I'm sure it can't be that bad. After all, you've stuck with it, haven't you? I guess. Jeez, Hisao, calm down, you're gonna scare her. I settle into my beanbag and set about reading my own book that had been buried in my bag. It's a light novel about pirates. To be honest, I'm barely skimming over the words, having chosen the book merely because it belongs to a different genre than I usually read. Finding it harder to muster enough enthusiasm to finish the book, and noting I've inadvertently distracted Hanako quite a bit, I decide to try and make conversation. So, I see Lily left without you? She nods before taking her eyes off the book. She must have been really into it after all. Why are you talking to her then? Lily said she had to go and meet someone. Oh? Akira, her sister. Sister? I haven't heard her talk about her family. She and Akira used to live together. I thought all the students lived in the dorms. We don't have to. But it's easier, right? I mean, there's food here and you're close to the school. I don't think I've ever been to class on time so often in my life. Her badly hidden smile proves quite rewarding. In the back of my mind, I know I have a bit of homework to catch up on, but it's quite comfortable in here. No one can find me and force me into working for their pet project either. Though now that I'm thinking about the festival, another question comes up. Hey Hanako, what are you doing for the festival? Oh, jeez. Bad question. For a split second, I think that Hanako is about to throw her book in the air from shock. I mean, will you be in the library tomorrow as well? Sorry? I was just asking what you're doing for the festival tomorrow. Anything planned? I don't know. Hanako answers in the way that people do when they don't want you to ask any more questions. I take it large crowds and loud music aren't really her thing. Oh, okay. Change the subject. So what's Lily's sister like? She's nice. She's pretty like Lily, but she dresses businesslike. What would businesslike be? I just keep thinking of that suit. Oh yeah, she's always wearing a suit. Ah, I see, and that makes her less pretty somehow? Hanako gives an embarrassed shake of her head. No, just different. I'll admit, this has got me intrigued. To hear Hanako talk about someone other than Lily is a first, and to be complimentary about it too. But as I try to picture this mystery sister, all I can think of is Lily in a suit. And I can't imagine that not being attractive, not at all. Well, one day you'll have to introduce me to her. Oh, okay. Our brief conversation ends as abruptly as it started, and we both return to our novels. Oh, scrolled. Sun setting. The passage of time is marked only by the gradual movement of the patch of light cast